YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to another track guide for the Ferrari GT3 Challenge Fixed Series on iRacing. This week we're at Oulton Park International with no chicanes. Thankfully those awkward chicanes aren't there, so it makes the track a little bit easier to get to grips with, although there still is the first turn, the second turn, third turn, the fourth turn, the fifth turn, the sixth. All those turns are super awkward, not to mention all the outrageous off tracks. So with that being said, let's jump in and try and learn how to do them. Coming across the start finish line, heading into turn 1, we're going to be in 5th gear. The braking point I like to use for the first turn is this sign just on our left. It's not ideal, but it's probably one of the only references you can use. So around this point, this is when you're going to start braking. You're going to brake fairly hard and turning at the same time, pretty much. You're going to brake down to 3rd gear, and then you're going to start trail braking to try and nail this apex on the first of many, many awkward turns. So as you can see right now, I've turned in, I've done my trail braking, and I'm about to mount the curb, essentially. I'm going to straddle this curb. We're in 3rd gear and we're trying to get the power on before we hit this curb. This is about the limit of what you can straddle a curb. Any further to the right and all 4 tyres are going to be on the wrong side of that white line. Go on the power early, trying to get the car to rotate on exit, and then I'm just going to hold it here as well and point out that this, again, it's about the limit of how far you can go off the track on corner exit. Any further than this, you're going to get a 1x. So heading into turn 2 now, we are in 5th. And the braking point I like to use is just this little dip in the road. As you can see, there's a little crest. I just begin to brake as my car rolls over this crest down to 3rd gear, and you want to take a nice tight line round turn 2. It's a very, again, it's another awkward turn. It's what Oulton Park is, just awkward. The main goal here is to keep it nice and tight. Get your car slowed down first, and then trail brake to keep your car nice and tight. So I'm just going to hold it here. As you can see on the curb on the inside, there's a slight change in the pattern of the curbs, and this is what you're aiming for. You need to get the left hand side of the car on this curb right here and then put the power down. That's your cue to do all of those things all at once. So on the power, and then watch out for the exit. As you can see here, absolute failure. I've got the 1x, I've got the off track. I've hardly gone off the track at all, as you can see. I know I'm meant to be telling you how to drive around this track, and I've clearly done it wrong. But all I can advise is using the technique that I've just told you. It will result in you taking the corner correctly more often than not. The reason I ran a bit wide was I was trying to be too smooth on the steering. So I'm just going to hold my hands up and we'll move on. Okay, thanks. So heading into this fast left-hander now, we're in 5th gear, and I like to cover the brake to get the car to scrub off a little bit of speed and get the car turned in. I usually do this where this little access road is, or another ribbon of the track starts. So we're in 5th, little dab of the brakes and down to 4th gear. As we're halfway around the turn, it just feels a bit more comfortable for me to do that, and then feed that power back in. Now heading immediately into this slow right-hander. For the braking point, I like to use these tyres on my left as a little marker. You're going to be braking hard but smoothly down to 1st gear, and we're going to be holding onto the brake for a very long time until you're about halfway around the turn, and then as soon as you are that distance around the corner, you just go full power. As you can see, it adds a bit of extra rotation. That helps because when you shift up to 2nd on exit, your car begins to understeer. Here we are over the hill in 5th gear, spotting our braking point going into Knickerbrook. Nice and simple. You've got the 100-metre board, or you've got this change of colour on the road. You're just braking from 5th gear down to 4th, and you're braking again initially fairly hard, but then you're trail braking and you're aiming for the grass on the inside. So as you can see here, I've just clipped the grass on the inside. My car's landed essentially because it did a little jump, and now I'm trying to put the power on as soon as possible. What you will notice is I do actually put it on a little bit too early or a little bit too aggressively, which causes more understeer. So I do have to lift again to make sure that my car stays on the track. And as you can see, I barely get away with it. Now up the hill, we're going to shift into 5th gear, coming into the 2nd last turn. I'm going to pause it here. This is where I start to think about braking. You've got this curb on your left. You're going to keep the car tight on the inside to this curb. As soon as you're past this curb, that's when you're going to brake. You're braking from 5th gear down to 3rd. Once again, an initial firm stab on the brake, followed by trail braking. And your goal is to get your car to hook up with the curb on the inside of this double right-hander. I'm just going to hold it here. As you can see, my car is about to hit the curb. I wouldn't normally advise you to do this because it does unsettle the car quite a lot. However, around this track, it seems to be very beneficial if you do just clip this curb. Now, again, I need to emphasize, just clip it. If you get too much, it's going to completely mess you up. But my advice is, as soon as you hit this curb, you then feed the throttle back in. It's going to get the back end dancing around a little bit. It allows me to take a nice tight line throughout the turn and still keep that exit speed quite high. Then we're over these little bumps, going into the last turn in 5th gear. Nice and easy braking point, this turning right sign. Brake just as you get past this, and I go all the way down to 1st gear for this turn. We're braking in a straight line at first. As we get closer to the turn, we just ease our way to the inside as we're going down to 1st gear, and with the elevation change here, you just want to keep it nice and tight. I would advise you to use the curve on the inside as well. As you can see, I'm still trail braking and I'm halfway through the turn essentially. And at this point, this is where we start to feed the power back in. Because of the crest and because we're in 1st gear, I don't go full throttle straight away, but as you can see, it is quite a firm stab. And then we're up to 2nd gear, using all the track on exit, and then we've just got a short run to the start finish line, and we cross with a time of 1:23.900. As always, the uninterrupted lap is coming up. If you did enjoy the video, please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Any comments, questions, thoughts you've got, ask away in the comment section down below. Thanks very much for watching. Catch you guys next time.